shifting gears a little bit here, going into our second semifinal here at the GSTL Pre-Season tournament.
LGIM up against HoSeo. We're going to see great games out of those two teams. The last game that we saw today with Zubu advancing into the finals was a little bit shorter than I expected. The first all-kill in the GSTL in Heart of the Swarm.
Yep, it was, you know, starting things off, we had one loss, but then Violet cleared up the rest, taking the all-kill for his team. And this is going to be a very different team dynamic that we're now seeing because we've got a bench full of champions up against Jokji and his squad of practice partners.
And, well, people have been calling them Team Jokji for a while now, but in Heart of the Swarm so far, it's once again true to its name. In the first match, he was the pillar of his team, proved himself to be a very strong player. Today, it's going to be very difficult, though. We always talk about LGIM and all those champions that they have on the roster. So far in 2012, they did not really impress in Team League, but the coach already announced that they want to change this for 2013 and especially for Heart of the Swarm.
I just have a really weird feeling right now. It's like, I think you noticed I was like trying not to laugh, but the music just kind of creeped in and then creeped out. Did you notice that? The music just came in for a second, then it was like, wait a minute, I'm not belonging here. There's no overlays or player cameras. This is camera time, and on camera time, unless it's the closing, the music is not supposed to be here.
Yeah, we actually broke the GSL matrix earlier, didn't we? We were talking and suddenly they just turned the lights off and I'm like, what?
And suddenly the music's like trying to sneak into our set here. Yeah. Not right now, music. That's for later. Okay, not yet.
It's like earlier they were just like trying to go into the break and get a coffee and they were like, okay, Wolf and Calder, get out now, stop wasting time, we need to get our coffee. That's actually exactly what we did. And apparently everyone else in the studio. We went to our favorite coffee place just around the corner, one of the Cafe Benas, really nice place.
It's a good place.
And it was packed.
They're going to change that name to like Cafe Gom soon. I think Gom is going to take over.
It was, well, we are moving studios, so I feel that they can't, but
there will be a new place there.
There probably will. But yeah, it was packed. There were so many people, and all of them, we recognized all these faces. We had like the fangirls were there, and it was pretty fun.
It was quite nice.
Yeah.
And here is Mad Bull himself up in the top right.
Yeah, this is of course a few scenes that we had the last time.
GG there. Swarm host taking him out. Killer falling in his first match against Sanai, and here are that. Well, actually, I thought we were going to see the whole result, but I guess not.
No, not quite. Well, maybe a little bit later. But Sanai did really, really well in the last series, in the last match that they played. This was, of course, against Team MVP. Sanai only with 1 kill, but still a very nice performance. And here is the champion. This is the most important man on the roster.
Yep. This is the guy. He came out, he cleaned up house, he got his team here to the semifinals just with excellent play. That TBT was a really fun one to watch, by the way, against stream. I highly recommend it. Go back and watch that VOD.
The games that Jokji played were crazy. He took out Shine, he defeated Monster and Dream. It really was.
Who is wearing that Murloc suit?
Well, it can't
I think we're about to find out. Oh wait, was that MC? I don't think so.
Well, he did it in the past, but the thing is, I doubt that his old Murloc suit is still going to fit him.
Yeah. I don't know who's in there, but it could still be his. He could have given it to somebody.
MC is our starting player.
Yes.
And he announced already when we saw him, was it yesterday?
Yes. It's hard to believe, but yes, that was yesterday.
It was actually yesterday.
Yeah, LGIM played yesterday.
Yeah, that's
crazy. He was like, nah, see you tomorrow when we win. I'm like, wait, how do you know you're going to win? He's like, it's
I'm
fine.
the starting player. So, yeah, MC is going to play the first match for LGIM today. He is up against Mad Bull. Mad Bull is back. And he's the king of ceremonies already, even though he hasn't really won a game yet.
Here we just see a bit of Ragnarok's play, who he has shined. He almost got the first all-kill in the GSTL yesterday, taking 3 victories. And, I mean, nobody expected this guy to come out and be such a heavy hitter. He was obviously a great Zerg player on TSL, but he was always kind of in the background. And you can see how much success he's already had here going into this preseason.
Yeah, he wanted the all-kill, but it is another Zerg player who's able to get it. Violet today making Heart of the Swarm history.
Yes. And Violet with a fungal that we described in many ways, taking out those mutas in that clump. Ruin is the MVP so far for LGIM.
That's so cute. He's shy. He's like, no, I'm not going to look in the camera. Ah, there we go.
He was the closer, you know. He did not get the
This is the get that camera away from me smile.
You can see here he took an incredible game in the final series, the final set. Even though I said earlier he was the MVP, it's not really, I mean, he was the closer. I didn't mean to say MVP, but he definitely showed a great Pro House versus Terran.
He played so well. Like a new player in the GSL doing so well against an experienced opponent, this is quite rare.
It was really weird, you know, it was quite the shake-up of what things we expected to see and what we actually saw.
Yeah. I want to see him today again. I really want to see him again. And yeah, I guess you're right. So starting off, of course, MC. If MC doesn't get an all-kill here, there's a pretty good chance that we will see as a second Protoss player, maybe Ruin once again. But now we're having a quick interview once more before we head into our second semi-final of the day here at the GSTL Pre-Season. Yeah, let's see what the coaches or captains have to say.
You can see what those cards really look like on the other side now. There you say GSTL on the back, but on the front there's words on them. Look at that. Jokji is going to be who we interview first.
안녕하세요.
네, 안녕하세요.
네, 우리 시청자분들께 인사 좀 부탁드리겠습니다.
네, NS서
He's introducing himself, of course.
정지훈입니다.
에이스라고 하기, 본인 입으로 에이스라고 하기 쉽지는 않은데
He called
실제로
himself
에이스는
ace.
맞지만 자, 지난번 8강
Well, I guess it's kind of true. I mean, he usually comes out as the last player.
He basically just said, I am the ace of HoSeo.
IM한테 좀 많이 졌어요. 그래서 꼭 이기고 싶어요.
자, 아무래도 뭐 개인적인 욕심이
He lost a lot against LGIM.
결승으로 가는 길에 IM은
And so obviously just wants to take that win today.
정지훈 선수가 생각하는 IM에서 이 선수만은 좀 조심해야 된다라는
It's more the quiet type. She's just asking who he actually fears the most, who he thinks they have to be careful of the most.
며칠 전에 온라인 대회에서도 만나봤는데 잘하시더라고요.
그래요?
네, 그리고 저번에도 대회에서 진 적이 있기 때문에
So he's basically echoing what we already said in yesterday especially. He said that Seed to him seems to be like the person they really have to watch out for because he's practicing a lot on Heart of the Swarm and he met him in an online tournament. He thinks that Seed is really strong. Kind of talking about exactly what we said earlier already. Seed looking in Heart of the Swarm really good, especially online. But we haven't seen him in the GSTL yet.
Yeah, just not yet. He says that he thinks Zerg's doing pretty well since we had a Zerg all kill earlier, despite the fact that most people are saying that Zerg is not doing very well right now. Jokji suddenly has like this personality in this interview that I've never seen before. He's just like so calm and collected about his answers, but at the same time having this cheeky smile, like there's something hidden beneath what he's really saying.
I see exactly what you're saying. I was wondering the same thing when he came out. We don't see him in interviews all that often, but he's really grown. I mean, he has a lot of responsibility on his shoulders. It's not like he's the guy who suddenly is in the finals and just the best player on the team. He takes responsibility for the team now, and he knows it, and I feel it helps him just grow as a person.
Yeah, that's absolutely the case. He is now no longer just a player, but he is a leader.
That is actually putting it into words. That's exactly what it is. It's a little bit like when we have...
We're going to interview an LGIM player, and we actually don't know who this is. Production also confirms that they do not know. They have confirmed that there's nothing to confirm. He like isn't speaking either. I'm like, I don't know. We have to actually...
It has to be MC. He's fitting into his Murloc suit after all. That has to be MC.
Well, I don't know, man. I mean, I think so.
I mean, he's a starting player, and he did it before. And nobody else is crazy enough to actually do that on LGIM except for him.
It's actually
It's Seed.
Yeah, there he is.
That is awesome. I was looking at this, I was wondering, no, MC doesn't fit in that thing anymore.
MC looks really good in that new SK shirt, that purple one. I like it a lot.
MC's coach confirmed that MC is just loving steak.
He also confirmed that purple looks better on him than white.
The thing is, MC has a girlfriend, he's really successful, so why not?
Yeah.
Eat all the steak that you want, but this is Seed, of course, and he's currently... Yeah, he's actually saying that he's the first player to ever do a ceremony even before the game started.
MC approves. I like that little nod MC gave. He's just like, yeah, I guess he did it fine. He's not laughing. Oh, now he ruined it. He laughs now. I actually really liked how Seed executed this. This was quite nice. If he hadn't laughed through the whole interview, I would have been really scared of him, but he lost his face there at the end.
Seed was so sad when he dropped down to Code B again, and we talked yesterday to him. He really wants to do well in Heart of the Swarm. He's practicing a lot, but today he has to show it. And he's just talking a little bit about what Jakji said, saying that Jakji actually picked him to be the scariest player of LGIM, but he disagrees. He says that in his opinion, Ragnarok is definitely the one to watch out for.
Yeah. Ragnarok is on fire right now. I mean, figuratively speaking, he's actually just fine on the bench behind us. He thinks Ruin is also another player to watch out for, of course, on the team as well.
Look how embarrassed he is. He is so shy. He's nearly in tears. He's sweating.
Yeah, he is actually Pult 2.0, man, I decided. He thinks there's actually no flaws in his play. And he says he's on the same level as Harding even. So that's...
He should stop it. Ruin is actually just going to have a heart attack.
Seed has such an interesting personality, by the way. The more I see him, the more I can't figure him out. I'm like, oh, is he really serious or is he joking around? You can't really tell.
I love this guy. He has a great attitude. I talked about it in a length in previous casts. I feel if he comes out today again, we're going to talk a little bit about him and how he approaches not only his matches, but the game, being a pro gamer in itself. I actually really like that we have him in an interview here. That he was the one who says like, okay, I want to give an interview.
He really wanted to come out yesterday, set up 4 times in fact, but he was not able to come out. He says he's the 3rd player today, so MC hopes he only kills 3 players so they can come out. That doesn't make sense.
That wouldn't help him.
I know, I was like, well, I don't know, but...
Oh my god, Wolf, we just realized that Seed is about as bad as math as you are.
I know.
But actually, you caught him. That means you are better.
I'm getting better.
What is happening?
I don't know.
My view of the world is shifting.
He says, for the fans' sake, he hopes that's a 4-3.
Yeah, he wants to have as many matches today as possible for the fans. And I actually agree. I would love to see a very, very close match. And there are so many players on these benches that we've already talked about that we want to see today, so that's only possible with a 4-3.
He also confirms, by the way, just continuing with the interview here, just that he thinks Jakji is the ace player. He's just saying, yeah, I think that's definitely true. That was certainly interesting. Interviewing a Murloc suit without like any sort of jokes. He just like took it off. He was like, yeah, I'm Seed, and I think that Ragnarok is actually pretty good.
I actually really like the play interviews that we had. They were talking about the games, they were talking about who they think is good on the opposing team. And Seed here naming Ragnarok and Ruin. I feel Ruin is probably a lot more nervous when he's walking to the booth than he's actually actually playing the game. That seems to more calm him down. But I completely understand what Seed is saying here, that they have strong players on their team. I would love to see all of them today. The thing is, if you look at the roster, you want to see how is MVP doing in Heart of the Swarm, what does an ST do? At the same time, you're like, well, there's Ruin, and he played so well yesterday. Can he do it again? I want to see him. Seed is such a good player in Heart of the Swarm. He's high in the ladder. He's doing well in tournaments, so I want to see him as well. I actually hate the fact right now that we have a best of 7 today. I want to have a best of 9. I want to have a best of 11.
Well, I am looking forward to seeing some of these new NS HoSeo players like Tibble, Kaisar. We've already seen Sanae and Madbull. I'd love to see him again. Well, I'm like, oh, my wish is granted. Look at that. Whoa! I don't know about that. Like, he must have some on his teeth he's trying to get out. That's not the most efficient way, though. He should just use a toothpick.
Look how he's looking at the camera. The camera guy is actually afraid to center the image in him again. He's like, well, I don't know. This guy seems to be pretty violent.
Well, here is the team of champions. MC being at the bottom right, of course, representing SK, partnering with LGIM. We have Ragnarok with the near all kill. Never forget about players like Younghwa, Yoda, First, Seed, MVP, Nesty, Byul, and Ruin. Don't forget about any of them. They're all on the roster, and I just read them all in order. Well, actually, it was kind of in a weird pattern that I took, but now you guys heard them all.
And here we have the starting player, MC, MVP, Nesty. So much skill in one room.
I think MVP is going to come out today. Unless MC gets an all-kill or something strange.
I want to have the 4-3. I completely agree with CT. I want to see as many players as possible.
Yep. So the key matchups here, the key points are Jakji's back to champion shape. Who will be the second best player? And for LGIM, will the new players shine, or will the usual top players carry the team? The thing is, you can say that, you can ask that question, but the reality is usually LGIM doesn't always field their champions.
I think they have to, though. In the best of 7 format, it's much more difficult to bring new players out and to make this decision. On the other hand, we have the preseason, which is exactly where you want to experiment a little bit.
They had the perfect opportunity to use Ruin and Ragnarok last time, and then they just won. So that was great for them. If they're ahead, I could see them sending one new player out that we haven't seen yet. But otherwise, I think we're probably going to see the best Heart of the Swarm players coming out of the team for them. We could see Bjol. That would be interesting as well.
Yeah, Bjol yesterday looked really confident that he would be playing. In the end, he wasn't needed. But now we have both teams just entering the arena. MVP actually looks... He has this aura around him, doesn't he? It's like a little bit like in his T2. Both of them are just great players. Here we have the TSL coach, the former TSL coach again. He's now an admin for GOM.
I don't know about this Mad Bull guy, man. He's a little bit crazy. Look at Tassadar's hair, by the way. We talked about this last time, but that needs some trimming. I don't know what happened there.
The thing is, with Red Bull, I feel it's nice to have a personality like him in the team, but I feel it's his duty right now to confirm to everyone that he's not just all talk.
Yes.
Because he's good at bantering, he is... I mean, it's fun to watch him, but he has to actually show some results too. So I feel if he can do that, if he can show results, then this is going to be a great addition to the team because he adds a certain atmosphere to the team house. That's what the players already said when they were interviewed. But he has to show that he's not just a guy who has a big mouth, but also a lot of skill.
Yes. I mean, he played a decent game, but he did get dismantled at the end of it when he played last time. And I think that there's no doubt in my mind that if NS HoSeo needs to call on a Protoss player, they will choose him. I would like to see Tassadar, though. That's who I'm looking forward to most, seeing if we get to see him come out at all. I love seeing old players come back, and Tassadar is just one of those guys who's been around as kind of the head Protoss. We had Bonbons or Bonbons, however you want to pronounce his name, on the team for a while. We had San, we had Sage, but they've all kind of faded out and disappeared. But the one constant has always been Tassadar.
Here we have NS HoSeo now, and let's see what they can do today. They played really well against the last opponent with a 4-2. They defeated MVP, and if you watched yesterday's games, that you saw that Incredible Miracle was successful against Axiom Acer.
Yes.
With a 4-1. Ragnarok taking out 3 players, which is exactly why Seed named him as being one of the strongest Heart of the Swarm players in the entire roster earlier in his interview.
I think going into this series, no matter who we see, we're going to see a very different style dynamic for map picks.
Yeah.
Like, we talked about this earlier. FXO makes some of the smartest decisions. They were defeated today, earlier. Spoiler alert, sorry, I spoiled that for you if you're turning in late, but you're late to the party. So, I mean, anyways, there's like somebody out there, I'm like reaching out to them right now. I'm having a conversation through this camera, and they're like really mad at me. I'm like, listen, I'm sorry, but I mean, you could have avoided this. I don't know. But going to what I was really going to say, the dynamic is very different. We already had what we talked about earlier. Some teams pick players in order. He says, well, I'm going to play third. That's just like, that's it, I'm playing third. What does that even mean? I don't know, but he's playing third. That's a different type of style to picking players.
I feel it's okay for a preseason tournament. There I can understand it, but there's so many strategies that he can pull out in this team mode that we have here at the GSTL, that picking players in an order is always, my personal opinion, a huge mistake. I mean, I was coaching 4Kings and Mouse Sports back in Warcraft 3, and we put so much thought into the lineups. Every single time that we approached a team, we analyzed their players, we analyzed map strength, we analyzed matchups. So this is something that you have to do even more in StarCraft 2.
Yeah.
Back then, it was not even like your job. That was just a thing you did while you were studying, while you were at school. So right now, this is actually like a profession. And things have to change there a bit in the season, I feel. For the preseason, it's completely fine. You can pick players in an order, but I don't know. There are so many opportunities that you have and so much potential in devising a strategy that you have to do it later when it really counts, when it's the GSTL Season 1, 2013.
You need to have that flexibility. And I'd actually briefly forgotten that Mad Bull is actually going to be our starting player. So not only is he there when they need to call on him, but he's actually coming out first as the Protoss player starting today. So we're going to see him no matter what. We're also going to see a very interesting sweater.
Yeah.
That's all I can pretty much say about that. Nesty and I eat the same donuts.
Okay, now we just confirmed that the donuts are not the reason why NST is so good.
Yeah, that's actually, that's been confirmed.
I'm sorry, I couldn't resist.
Part of the Swarm experience for MC is an unlucky 13. And I think that's because he was unlucky enough to have the timing of being in the round of 8 of Code S right when this was happening, so he had to practice Wings of Liberty.
And we of course wanted to point that out earlier, we mentioned it, but we didn't get around to it. The Heart of the Swarm experience that is shown in the details, that's not really a thing. That's just a place where the coaches can fill in a random number that they deem to be appropriate, and a lot of the coaches are using it to make fun of the players a little bit, to banter. It's not really an estimate of how much experience you have in Heart of the Swarm. So just
I want to see more stats. Like, we need favorite food. I want blonde or brunette. The 3 things you bring to you if you're stranded on an island.
That is my personal question. My favorite question. Yeah. I love this. It says so much about a person. And some people really think about it. Some people just throw out random things.
Yeah, I would like to see some other questions like, which country would you like to travel to the most?
Yeah, I can see that.
That's just, that's just my personal thing I'd like to see.
What I want to see the most now is game number 1.
PvP, man. MC versus Mad Bull.
Exactly, MC versus Mad Bull, and let's see how mad this bull really is. MC is going to... What is he going to do here? In this first match, we are jumping into game number 1 in the GSTL Pre-Season of Calder Wolf.
We are about to have something crazy happen, guys.
Yeah.
What has happened here is going to be up to debate, but what happened during the countdown, or during the little intro we had there, is Mad Bull forgot to make his first probe, or had a technical problem and didn't make his first probe and started it late, and he's going to have to argue that that's actually what happened, rather than that he forgot to make his first probe.
Exactly. What I don't know is, what I could see, I mean, I didn't see it on screen, but did you see if he has auto mining on?
I did not see, actually.
If he did not start, if his probes, or if the computer is set up, if his StarCraft client is set up that he... This is like the best picture ever. MC is like, this is so boring. Kid, you have no chance. Okay, but coming back to my point.
Back to this.
If the client is set up for some reason that auto mining is not activated because the player who was playing at the same PC previously just is one of those old school guys who wants to not use this feature, then I can see Mad Bull going into the client, not seeing this, and why would he? Starting the game, his drones don't mine. He's completely surprised by it, and that's why he started with his probe this late. Maybe. I mean, I'm grasping for straws here.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I saw nothing unusual. I watched it at first, and my initial thought was, oh, he's going to do some sort of weird proxy. That's strange. I don't know. And then I was like, no, he just started his probe late. And, I made this weird expression, and you looked at me and you didn't know what was going on. I couldn't tell you because I couldn't talk because we're going through the intro. But this may actually be talked about for a long time, because it's hard for him to prove that he just did not forget to make the probe. And I always wondered what would happen if this ever happened in a professional game, if someone could argue that if this ever happened, someone would try to argue that they had a technical problem, because this will actually affect the game so much. So he gets a warning, and this is actually a big deal because this warning does not only apply to him but his entire team, and we are going to have a regame with his hotkeys.
I can never understand how this is happening. We have 4 booths at the GSTL. Usually, you always have time to set up your gear. In this match particular, you have that because it's the first game of the team match. So how can you not have the probe hotkey of all hotkeys? I mean, if you just do one game, one test game, within 5 seconds you will realize what's going on. How is that even possible?
Oh, I guess we're not actually having a regame. And now I just accidentally chatted in the lobby with half a sentence, but we're not having a regame, we're actually just starting, so... Alright.
Why would we have a regame?
Yeah, it was his fault. I actually completely agree. I thought that we had information we were having a regame, but I was mistaken.
I mean, usually there are scenarios where I can completely sympathize with the player and be like, okay, well, it's just happened, whatever, he didn't have a lot of time. But in this scenario, with a half-hour break before the game starts, I would make the same decision as you. This cannot happen, so it's his own fault and he has to live with it. Bottom left of the map, we have the new player for HoSeo starting. He's starting in red in this PvP. It is
HoSeo Mad Bull.
Mad Bull. Bit of a probe problem at the beginning, but doesn't seem to be phased by it. And he's up against, to the top left, the boss toss from the team SK, partnered with LGIM. He is
SKMC.
I don't think that Mad Bull is going to be really phased by this. It's not something that is affecting you too much. You lose a few seconds, but it's still going to be fine in the scenario. And I just want to see how he approaches this game. He has, of course, the very unlucky scenario where he's up against MC. And MC well, he's not only a veteran, he's the guy that always wins, even when he thinks that he shouldn't.
Yeah.
He always bounces back. There were so many times when MC lost not only in Code S, then he lost in Code A. Monster defeats him in Code A, sends him back to Code B. A lot of players say, well, MC is not actually good. Then suddenly he comes back and he takes major tournaments. This guy is incredible, and he's always around.
Yeah. He's just a top-tier player, and even though he doesn't have as much experience with Heart of the Swarm, he's got great mechanics. Now, let's talk about the differentiation in builders here. We have a later second gas for MC, but his core timing is normal, and we had a double gas by Mad Bull. He's going 2 probes and gas like Naniwa has shown originally, and he has a slightly later core, but in PvP right now, there's so many different openings you can do. The matchup is a little bit weird. The most popular one, in my experience and with talking to other pro gamers, seems to be Phoenix's, because it's the safest one in most cases.
Yeah. You can open with the Stargate and go for an Oracle, but if your opponent decides to go with Stargate into Phoenix, then you will immediately lose the Oracle, or at least you should, and then you're already way behind. There are, of course, expansion builds where you can also go into DTs. There are so many things that you can do right now, and people are still experimenting quite a bit.
Yeah, there's also a lot of fast expand builds using the Mothership core that people are using because they know that with that Photon Overcharge ability, you can hold a lot more pushes than you used to be able to. But again, Blink Stalker builds are a lot scarier now because you have that high ground vision with the Mothership core. There's all sorts of little changes to the way that Protoss works that makes PvP a little bit weird right now. 3 gates.
I feel that the player that has probably... I mean, Mad Bull is probably going to be called Mad Bull for a reason. That is one of the things that he already showed when he had all this banter going on yesterday. No, it was not yesterday, the last time they played, and today too. So I feel if we have a bit of a weirder strategy and just a surprise effect coming into play, that's something that we will see from him. But MC is the one who goes into the additional gates so early in this game that we could see aggression. He also has the forward pylon in place.
Yeah. And this has not been scouted by Mad Bull, but he adds his own 2 gateways a little bit later. Looks like he's made a conscientious decision here to wait before expanding. And oh, his probe gets spotted and nearly killed here. The pylon, though, was not shown. And MC is actually going to attack now with the Mothership core supporting him. He has to be careful with that, though. It does not have a lot of hit points.
Yeah, he has to be really careful. Also with the Stalkers, he's going to lose one of them. And the Mothership core will die.
Yeah, I mean, this is just one of those things where you can see MC does not have as much experience. Time Warp nearly saves it, but not quite.
But with a Time Warp, he's at least able to trade with 1 Stalker. Double Time Warp, actually, since now we have another one being dropped.
Yeah.
This time by Mad Bull.
And now the Mothership core of Mad Bull is out in the middle of nowhere, which will also probably be taken out. Oh, it looks like he's barely going to save it.
Yeah, but just... The thing is, what he tried to achieve with his own...
Oh, he could still get it. Oh!
Nice reaction time.
Nice pull there. That was really close.
That was very close. But yeah, what Mad Bull tried to do here with his own Time Warp was trying to save his Stalker, because MC in the last second before his own Mothership core is destroyed, drops the Time Warp, traps the 2 Stalkers, makes sure that the Stalkers of MC can get close enough to get the kill, and Mad Bull tried to prevent it. Now he saves his own Mothership core, which was really important here, and we have a deviation in tech.
Yeah. Really interesting choice of this pylon warp in. He has 3 pylons on the map, which all 3 of which have been scouted and will be killed now. And I don't quite understand what the purpose of that one in the main was. I guess he was hoping MC wouldn't see it, maybe he could get a scout off. We have Oracle first here coming out for MC now.
Yeah, MC is definitely taking a bit of a risk. We talked about the Stargate opening and what happens if you go Oracle against a Phoenix opponent, but we have the expansion out for Mad Bull, and MC knows it. He has a pylon there.
Yeah, and this is the pylon that makes a lot more sense to me, because it's the one that not only scouts the Nexus, but also is going to give him a flank here. He's going to be able to flank with his Zealots. There's going to be no retreat from these Stalkers, and he doesn't have enough energy on his Mothership core to actually charge the Nexus, and the Nexus isn't ready anyways.
What a force field! What a boss toss force field! I mean, this was a force field by Mad Bull. I'm trying to say Mad Fog the entire time, but this was a great force field, trapping all of those Zealots, but now they are free, and the only thing that is trapped is Mad Bull's army.
Yeah, and now Mad Bull's army is in an awkward position. MC even going to go for Oracle kills here, and Mad Bull is being totally dismantled by this push now. Every single probe in the main is got no chance for survival. Another Time Warp here, this time offensively by MC, and the Oracle will finish off the rest of the probes. Looks like this is game over.
This is GG. We have MC already with so many kills in Harvesters. He took down 20 probes so far, and this is just game.
He says, I'm level 13. And he starts the Dark Shrine.
I'm not quite sure what...
I don't know about the Dark Shrine. It's obviously not going to work here. But I guess he's probably going to leave the game now. And
this chat is a little bit weird, to be honest with you.
he's trying to type in Korean, but he can't, I guess, because of his input. So he's just typing DK, which
MC said
Which
that
means,
that he's 13.
yeah.
Okay.
Well, at this point in time, I guess they're just going to have a conversation. He's asking you for Joshi to come out.
Okay, so the thing is, one of the things that we have to tell you guys that you probably don't know yet because we didn't have it happen is that players are allowed to go for banter and chat at the pre-season tournament. Not in the official season later, but in the pre-season tournament, players are allowed to chat more than only the GG or anything.
A decision that I actually don't like all too much, but...
Yeah, and so this is basically what we just have happening here. MC is just trying to banter a little bit. He has the personality to do it. A lot of other players didn't do it in the past. He is the first one, and he wants Joshi to come out and play.
Yep, he wants Joshi. He says, let's see how good you are. And MC, you know, with a very solid game plan there, you know? He had an aggressive opening, it allowed him to scout, and, well, this is... I just have to stop what I'm saying now, but... Anyways, now we can move on. I liked what he did. He basically just aggressively scouted with some stalkers, saw the expansion, used the Oracle to come in and kill probes. The Oracle was basically an afterthought because his push was just too strong. If there was a Photon Overcharge on the Nexus, he might have been able to hold, but the Nexus wasn't even done yet.
And, well, as I already said, I feel this is not the game where Matt Bull really had to prove himself because it is against MC after all.
Yeah.
And I feel that he had a very different plan here. But so far, we have him with 2 losses. He had a loss against Dream in the match against MVP. Now he has a loss against MC. And he still has to prove that he can back his words up with his play.
Yeah.
And that was not the case yet. As I said, blanco check from me because he has faced 2 very, very tough opponents.
And he had a, I mean, he had a technical difficulty, call it what you will, in the beginning of the game. That always gets into your head a little bit. And it was an unfortunate game for him. He lost his Mothership core nearly early on, and then he didn't have enough energy to make the Photon Overcharge happen.
MC lost his.
MC lost his as well. It was an unfortunate game for him. He just was scouted too well.
All right, will we see Joshi? I kind of doubt it, but it would be nice.
Nope. And in fact, we are going to see Tibble. Probably used to watch Arthur when he was a kid. He's one of the Tibble twins.
Well, what can he do here against the boss toss? And what is MC going to write in chat? Because I feel MC is going to call for Joshi, especially if he is able to make something happen against his new opponent here.
Yeah. Tibble, this is his first appearance. Heart of the Storm experience rated as 40.
And before we find out how strong he is in Heart of the Swarm and if he can win his debut match at the GSTL, we're going to jump into another 5-minute break and then we have our second match of the day. So guys, see you in a few minutes, stay tuned, and then we have our second game here when it comes down to NS HoSeo facing LGIM.